I'd like to ask you a question. How long do former colonial countries have to be punished for then? One of the largest and most significant and longest colonial powers in history was the Turkish Empire. Do we do this to Turkey? Do we say to Turkey, you must have your identity erased as well as punishment for the past? Almost every single people in the world at some point has done something historically they could be punished for. But why, I wonder, is it that it is Europeans that we are always being heard, being offered that choice?
So welcome back to another Douglas Murray discussion and debate. Okay, so this is actually a heated one and epic at it is. Okay, so we're going to be checking out Douglas Murray destroys every Muslim activist on immigration in a Q&A. I really want to see what this turned out to be. Okay, so but if you just see me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and for more. Okay, so let's dive into the video right now. Okay,
I'd like to ask you a question. How long do former colonial countries have to be punished for then? One of the largest and most significant and longest colonial powers in history was the Turkish Empire. Do we do this to Turkey? Do we say to Turkey, you must have your identity erased as well as punishment for the past? Almost every single people in the world at some point has done something historically they could be punished for. But why, I wonder, is it that it is Europeans that we are always being heard, being offered that choice?
We're back with another explosive debate where Douglas Murray dismantles the clueless leftists who scream the loudest about issues they barely understand. This time, it's all about immigration, and Douglas skillfully obliterates every question thrown his way. But before we unleash Douglas Murray's fierce insights, let's hear the absurd questions from the woke audience.
Nowadays, how would you argue tonight, frankly speaking?
I would like to make a point to Mr. Murray, and I would like to ask you why you feel that the presence of 1 or 2 or 1,000 people with a different identity within a society threatens the identity of the people who were in the society originally. Whether you believe that is a legitimate concern or a primal fear, and whether you agree that when a primal fear drives a crowd, they become a mob, and that a politician should follow a mob and not provide leadership by calming the mob down and giving them a reason.
Thank you. And towards the back.
I am against the motion, and I would like to say that the European Union was an ex-colonial power, so most of the countries of the Third World were exploited from us. So now we cannot say that we don't accept them, because most of their riches and their wealth were taken from us, and Mr. Voridis talked about our values as European citizens, as humans. Well, I think globalization takes them from us and not immigrants.
Get ready for a fiery clash as Douglas Murray takes the stage to obliterate the nonsensical drivel spewed by these misguided leftists. First up, a woman who naively asks how Murray would argue if he was Syrian. Brace yourself, because Murray's response will eviscerate her shallow understanding. Then, a man stumbles through an incoherent monologue about identity and primal fears, exposing his utter lack of grasp on societal dynamics. Finally, another woman dares to blame Europe for the world's woes, cluelessly ignoring the complexities of history and modern geopolitics. Murray will dismantle their weak arguments with his razor-sharp intellect and unflinching logic.
Douglas Murray, your response particularly to that challenge to you?
Very quickly, first of all, if I were Hassan in Syria, I would hope, among other things, that I would help to rebuild my country after the Assad dynasty had wrecked it so completely. I'd hope that I would stay and help to rebuild the country after the devastation caused by that family. Secondly, the gentleman here who said, why are you threatened by 1 or 2 people? I'm not threatened by 1 or 2 people. Nobody is threatened by 1 or 2 people.
Douglas Murray is absolutely right. His opponents are twisting his words, but he obliterates their feeble arguments. Why should a Syrian flee instead of rebuilding Syria after the Assad regime's catastrophic ruin? It's time to stay and revive their homeland, not abandon it. The figures Murray provided demolish the flimsy argument that immigration is about 1 or 2 people. In London, white British citizens are now a minority. This is a sweeping change. Facts don't lie, and to ignore this is to wallow in deception. And let's flip the script on colonialism. Why should Europe be endlessly flogged for its colonial past, while the Turkish Empire, one of history's longest-serving colonial powers, is off the hook? Historical wrongs exist worldwide, yet Europe alone gets shackled to perpetual guilt. This selective outrage is hypocrisy at its peak. Murray's logic is unassailable. His critics are desperately clinging to outdated, one-sided views of history. It's time to face facts and stop the endless blaming of Europe.
I would like to raise the point that the fear of the other and the unfamiliar is being politically promoted at a time of crisis as a substitute for dealing with a crisis, as a personification and shifting the blame for the crisis to those least able to answer back. Don't do that mistake, please.
So very quickly, I don't think. Can I just very quickly? I'm noticing this. I don't see the crisis being blamed on immigrants, and quite rightly not. The crisis, as I see it in Europe, is mainly blamed on bankers. It's mainly blamed on financiers. I mean, maybe we're watching different debates.
Douglas is absolutely correct. The claim that fear of the unfamiliar is being promoted to distract from crises is a weak, baseless argument. Let's be clear, Europe's crisis is not blamed on immigrants, but on the reckless actions of bankers and financiers. This is a fact, not fiction. The interviewer's attempt to shift the narrative is a desperate move. Douglas's observation is spot on. Look at the 2008 financial crash. Who was blamed? The bankers, not immigrants. Even the Occupy Wall Street movement targeted the financial elite, not the vulnerable. To suggest otherwise is to distort reality and insult our intelligence. Murray's clarity on this issue crushes the interviewer's misleading point. We must focus on the real culprits of our crises and not get distracted by false narratives.
Let's talk about migration. Please, who's got the microphone up there?
Hello, I'm Vasilis Papadopoulos. I'm currently undecided, and I would like to address Douglas Murray. Since he mentioned two completely different things, which is actually true about cities immigrants are arriving in. Are there two different societies, two parallel societies, or are the actual locals losing their identity? How are they losing it if there are two different and parallel societies?
Douglas Murray, quickly.
I'd like to just come back to the point I was trying to make, which is this, is that you can integrate people if you have integration at the if you have immigration at the kind of speed which it did go through in centuries past. But if you have migration at the speed at which it is now happening, the examples I gave, the same amount of immigration every couple of weeks, every couple of months, as was happening across centuries before, then you cannot integrate people. Then you have no hope of integrating people. Then people will come in, they will not have to meet anyone from the society they are going into, and they will lead parallel lives, and there are all sorts of miseries that come from that.
I completely agree with Murray. The current pace of immigration is a tidal wave compared to the trickle of centuries past. This rapid influx makes true integration impossible. When immigrants arrive so quickly, they form isolated communities, leading parallel lives, not blending into society. Look at the facts. In cities like London, native residents feel their culture eroding. Is this paranoia? No, it's reality. The relentless speed of migration creates ghettos where newcomers don't need to integrate. They don't mingle, they stay within their own circles. Douglas's point is clear and devastatingly accurate. Integration worked when it happened slowly. Now, it's a chaotic flood. Just look at Sweden, where rapid immigration has led to increased crime rates and societal tension. This isn't fear-mongering, it's the harsh truth. Douglas's argument annihilates the naive belief that we can integrate at this speed. We must face reality and address the dangers of uncontrolled immigration.
Two parallel societies at the same time. I think this is a very good example of the prejudice against migrants. You are doomed if you mingle because you affect natives, but you're also doomed if you stay separately because you sort of keep an identity.
Claiming that concerns about parallel societies are mere prejudice against migrants is a gross oversimplification. Douglas Murray is absolutely correct in highlighting the real dangers here. Look at Germany. The influx of migrants has led to entire neighborhoods where native Germans feel like strangers. This isn't prejudice, it's a well-documented reality. A 2018 study found that 42% of Germans felt their culture was under threat due to rapid immigration. Sweden provides another stark example. Rapid immigration has led to no-go zones where even police hesitate to enter.
So that this is actually a very heated argument, debates. I agree with you, I don't agree with you. But yeah, let me know what your thought on the comment section, okay? Like originally, I don't know, but sometimes your attitude might influence someone else's own, you get. But yeah, let me not be the judge here, okay? Let's discuss on the comment section. Make sure you are polite, make sure you're not insulting anyone. Let just be civil on the comment section, okay? Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will see you on our next one. Bye.